Hey guys, Tisha here, and I am back with another Love and Marriage Huntsville review. This is the reunion part 1. I'm telling you guys now that this is it. After I am done with this season, I'm probably not going to be reviewing any more Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't even think I have a desire to review the DC one because I am beyond frustrated with the way that this reunion went, and I feel like our time is being wasted on this show. I am more entertained by what happens on the internet than I am with what they're giving us. The fact that next episode we're going to see Mel going at it with Stormy's mom is pointless to me. We no longer care. So, this reunion was all over the place. I don't know what Carlos was doing. I don't know if it was editing or if it was the way that he actually ran this, but it was insane to me. So we began seeing all the different cast members arrive, which includes Martell in his extremely tight shorts and the Scotts and their boxing attire. It looked whack. It didn't give what they thought they wanted to give. They come out on the stage at various times. Kimmy's dress was too tight. She could barely move in it. The lime green on Tisha looked beautiful standing up, but sitting down, she looked extremely uncomfortable. The ribbing in it had her looking like certain parts were poking out. The tights were a no from a close-up. From afar, it looked good, but from close-up, it was awful. Stormy and Courtney looked like Pepto-Bismol walking on the stage. Martell's suit looked extremely tight, as usual. Mel did look like she was going to the Renaissance ball performance, whatever, but it looked good sitting on camera. What in the world? Good God. I don't know why all of a sudden my TV just cut itself on and started doing whatever it was doing. But you know what? I'm not cutting it out. You want to know why? Because this whole thing apparently is chaotic. Okay, so Mel has said how she feels light and freedom and happiness and peace this time around. Marcel's had to point out that she had felt all those things while she was with him as well. I highly doubt that. Carlos starts off by saying that Marceau and Tisha were in the hot seat a lot because of their business acumen. We see a whole bunch of flashbacks, and Marceau says, were we? Because I didn't feel like that. I don't understand how he doesn't feel like they were in the spotlight when Tisha did what she did as far as Stormy is concerned, where we see all these uncompleted projects and where we know that even though a lot wasn't said about it, they're currently being sued, or he's being sued for $5 million. So yeah, at some point you guys were in the hot seat. Tisha feels like everybody on the stage was hating on their success and the excess of the Black Expo. She's tired of people for coming for her because nobody congratulated her on the success of the event. Marceau points out that Maurice, Martell, and Mel did give positive feedback about it. I am not going verbatim about what Tisha says because it was just too much a back and forth. We then see her and Stormy go back and forth. And in part of this back and forth, we hear Tisha tell Stormy that she needs to worry about paying the people on TikTok the money that she owes them. According to Tisha, different people were hitting her up saying that Stormy owes money to them. Stormy's response was, when you make the type of money that she makes, then basically come holler at her. Stormy also says that Tisha wants to be her. And Tisha says Stormy is sitting there acting like she's the only one that's millionaires when they're all millionaires. Tisha, I don't know how truthful that is about you all being millionaires, because obviously y'all are not in the position that Stormy is in. So with the type of energy that Tisha is giving Stormy, what did I write? Oh, with the type of energy that Tisha is giving Stormy, I feel like Stormy should have sued her when she decided that she was going to copy and paste information off her website, because it's a whole bunch of heat and they haven't even gotten to anything that warranted that yet. So Stormy says she came for me as soon as this thing started. And basically, I feel like she practiced this stuff in the car. Best believe Tisha was practicing her comebacks, because this is not something that Tisha does naturally. Stormy says Tisha came to the reunion and has some balls, but unlike Tisha, she is who she is despite Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I will give Stormy that, because I didn't even realize this Stormy was the same person who was over Canvas Beauty until she got on the show, because I had previously used Canvas Beauty significantly. I used it a lot. Actually, until she got on the show. The quality of it isn't the same, if you ask me. Not trying to knock her business. Her shampoo and her conditioner are the same, but her oil is not. Something about it has changed, and I don't really like it. But I get what Stormy's saying. Like, she already had a business. She already had the money. She already had the finances. She already had the notoriety. She did not need this show. So Tisha tells her to go pay some bills and pop some pills. I don't quite understand what that means. I'm confused. But Marceau stops her and tells her that she's going way too far. Oh, excuse me. Stormy says when she found out about Tisha copy and pasting her stuff from her website that she gave her grace. And she did, because as I said, I would have sued her and she could have sued her. Tisha is still trying to blame the web designer for this. Carlos said if it was him, what he would have did was he would have told the web designer that he needs to issue some type of statement, basically admitting to the error. My question is, what was presented to the web designer? Because much like what Stormy said, this is not something that he just would have came up. That's not what he does. His job is to put the information that he's given in various spots on the website. He is not coming up with the verbiage for what the website says. So none of that makes sense to me. Stormy points out that the shipping policy is not something that the designer would be responsible for. And she's right. But instead of continuing to talk about this, because Carlos has people that he protects and prefers, he pivots and wants to talk about Kimmy and Marie. So we get the flashbacks about their lack of sex and the things that he said, you know, all the messed up things that he said. And Kimmy said originally she thought that she was depressed, but then she later learned that one of the reasons, why she was having different trouble was because of the side effects of chemo. Maurice admits to being ignorant about the situation and now feeling differently about some of the things that he said. We hear about how people felt that Kimmy was being sexually abused. I don't care about this because Kimmy does what Kimmy does best, and she stands by her man. So in Kimmy's head, faking it was what was best for her. She says that she just feels like now looking at it that she shouldn't have told him anything because it came a much bigger deal than it needed to be. We then go from this to talking about how Mel faked it with Martell. According to Martell, Mel is lying because she's always wet. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. A person can be wet and still not have an orgasm, but for some reason, because she was wet, he feels like he was doing her job. Mel says she did fake it the entire time. He says he has a hook and a curve, so he knows that she's lying. Once again, what does that mean? Doesn't have anything to do with it. Now, do I feel like every single time he didn't satisfy Mel? No. I do feel like there might have been times where Mel was satisfied, but I do believe that there was probably more times where she wasn't. So she says her faking it was no different from him faking that he was faithful the whole time he was married. Carlos said, what was it about his sex that did not make you satisfied? You see the guys laughing and stuff like that. She said exactly what he's doing right there because he stood up and was flexing and stuff like that. And she says, his ego, I don't like that. I don't like how he was off and on with me. One day he would be lovey-dovey and the next he'd be treating me badly. Excuse me. She says, as a woman, emotionally and mentally, your body responds differently. Tisha then says that because she's asked if she's ever faked it with Marceau, and she says every woman has faked it before. Stormy's asked the same question, and Stormy says that she's never had to fake it with her husband, Courtney, that he pleases her every time. It's the next segment, which involves Marceau and the ladies. The ladies feel he inserts himself in everyone's business, and Kimmy, as always, protects the man and says that she thinks that he inserts himself in everyone's business, not just the ladies' business. And I feel like he does insert himself in everyone's business, but he does seem to have more to say when it comes to the women. We then get to this whole Stormy calling Marceau a B segment. He said that when he first was called that he was offended, but now he no longer feels that way after learning that this is Stormy's culture. Now, Carlos said, okay, I thought we were African American. Now, Carlos, let's be clear. We all know that Marceau is using Stormy's own words against her because he's just repeating what Stormy said. When asked why she keeps calling Marceau a B, Stormy did say that that's what they do in her culture. So he's going to use it against her. She called him a B, she said, because he's sassy and he is doing some of these things because he needs camera time. It's what he likes to do. He's a B. Stormy is right. He does gaslight people, but she should not call him a B. Tisha says the fact that she feels so comfortable calling another black man a B makes her wonder what's going on in Stormy's household. She then says, blink twice, Courtney, if you need help. I busted out laughing when she said this. Stormy tried to act like she's so hard, but Tisha got her on some of this. I don't care for Tisha. I don't care for Stormy either, but she got her with some of her digs. Stormy rebuttals by saying that we've been feeling sorry for you too. Marceau tries to say that Stormy acts the way she does because she's not accustomed to the spotlight. Stormy says, look, I was known before I even came on the show. Forbes, Business Insider, Google her. And she says, you guys, pointing to the Scotts, are the only ones on this cast that tries to downplay that. They again get to talking about the whole comment that Mel made while they were sitting outside, saying that he's afraid of his wife hanging around Mel because she'll rub off on Tisha and Tisha will be her own person and leave him. And Marceau said he doesn't mind Tisha having degrees and all those other things, but he has no desire to be a power couple. He wants Tisha to stay focused on their goals as a couple and not stray from the ideas that they have. We then get on Tisha wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. Mel's confused by this. So are we, because she's all over the place, just like how this episode is all over the place, just like how I'm all over the place. Marceau doesn't want Tisha to become something else. He wants her to be around for the kids. He does not want her to be single like Mel. Mel points out that he is sitting there coming down on her for being booked and busy. And she's able to be booked and busy without having to sacrifice time with her kids. She's still been there for the things that they need her there for, such as school functions and things of that nature. As usual, rather than continuing on this path, Carlos once again strays and gets off of this topic. I do feel like Mel being booked and busy is good, but she does need to be careful because there will be times where she might miss things. But because of this 1 week on, 1 week off thing, she's probably able to be more out there than Tisha would be, okay? We then see Kiki come on the stage. They talk again about this cheating and the allegations about Marceau. Tisha says she wasn't coming at her the right way and she didn't have the right intentions. And that's why she had no desire to really talk to Kiki about it. Kiki says Tisha's in denial about her husband being a cheater. We hear about how she and her husband both cheated on each other, according to Tisha. She even says that in the beginning that Kiki paid for him to go out on a date with somebody else when they first started dating. So who was the dummy? It was just stupid. This whole thing is stupid. This review is stupid. I don't understand. Carlos is so busy worrying about other people's things. Meanwhile, his stuff is plummeting. I need him to stop hosting because he's not asking the questions that we really want to be answered. He's not holding these people accountable for the things that they've said and done. He's so amused by the guys. He's sitting there when they say certain things like, no, come on. If you're going to be the host, be the host. It's just not giving what it used to give. And I'm over the show. And it's showing now in this review. You guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000. I hope to get there sooner than later. Until next time, which hopefully won't be many more times with this show.